Hello everyone, I hope so you will be fine. So guys, we are going to start today unit number 15. Okay, and we are discussing professional ethics. This is the section of CMA part 2 and this section is 15% of your exam. And in this section we got actually two unit. Study unit 14, which is about ethical consideration for professionals. This unit we have already covered. So today we are going to start unit 15, which is about ethical consideration for the organization. So under unit 15, we got two topics. The first one, which is 15.1, it is about corporate ethical legislation. Okay, and in this actually 15.1, we are going to talk about mainly two act. One is called FCPA, Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, which is US based, and second we are going to talk about UK Bribery Act. Okay, so that is also about corrupt payment. So then 15.2 topic is about corporate responsibility for ethical behavior. So let's begin with 15.1. So which is about corporate ethical legislation. So the first thing under this corporate ethical legislation, as I told you, we are going to talk about two anti-bribery laws. Okay, the first law is about FCPA and second is about UKBA. So that we will start, don't worry. So we are starting with first the bribe. What is a bribe? Okay, so because most of the time we use this terminology like corrupt payments or bribe, etc. Okay, so what is bribe? Starting with it, and the definition is a bribe is anything of value. Okay, anything means say that it could be a money, it could be gift, it could be a favor, it could be a services. Okay, anything in value that is offered, given, or promised. Okay, like maybe I'm offering you a gift, offering you a favor, offering you a money. Okay, why we are offering? We are offering to someone. Okay, in a position of power in order to, like for example, maybe you are offering some money. Okay. To other person who is in a position of power, and that person. Okay, why we are offering this a bribe like money, gift, favor, or service? Because we want to influence their decision. Their decision means say to whom you are making these payments or these bribe. So you want to influence their decision. Okay, or we want to get unfair advantages, or we want to obtain or retain business. So now we need to understand, guys. So how we bribe others to influence their decisions. Here we got a couple of examples. Please remember when we talk about influence their decision, like how our offering or our given bribe can influence the decision of other. So the influence their decisions means say this word I'm going to explain now. Influence their decision means say we are trying to change or we are trying to affect someone's judgment. Okay, we are trying to affect their judgment, someone judgment. For example, I can quote a couple of example. For example, a student gives an expensive gift to a professor to influence the grading of an exam. So this is also a bribe, right? Like when we offer some payment to the professor just to change the grades, it's a bribe, right? Because we are now trying to influence their decisions. So another example, for example, a company offers a free hotel stay to a government official deciding on who gets a government project. Maybe you are offering some again hospitality kind of things, okay, or entertainment kind of things to a government officials because maybe you want to win a contract. Another example, for example, a driver pays traffic police to avoid getting a ticket. Sometime maybe this is also corruption, this is also a bribe. Okay, so remember now, second point I'm going to explain how we can offer bribe to get unfair advantage. Okay, first we need to understand what is unfair advantage. So using a bribe to gain something that others don't get, like of obviously Here, get unfair advantage means say you are using bribe just to get unfair advantage, and due to this bribe, you are getting this advantage. Otherwise, other people they don't get. Okay. So, for example, an example just as example, for example, a supplier gives a procurement manager cash to make sure their product is selected, even if it is not the best product. For example, I'm just giving you in simple way example. Sometime in some companies, let's assume there is a construction company, or let's assume there is a government, and the government wants the construction company to bid for a specific project. Now, what I know, for example, one person in the government procurement department, and I'm offering him bribe now, and I'm telling him that I'll give you 20% of the invoiced value, but in a condition if you will help us to win this bid. Okay, so this is like we are trying to get the unfair advantage. Okay, so another example, maybe a student pays someone to leak exam papers. This is also what. So we are trying to get unfair advantage. Now the third is sometimes we offer a bribe, okay, to obtain or to retain a business. So what it means? So obtain or retain business mean. So here bribing someone, we are trying to bribe again to win a contract or keep existing business, okay, that might otherwise go to a competitor. So what we are going to do, we are trying to obtain the contract, or maybe we are trying to retain the existing business. Okay, so for example, a company offers a gift card to a purchasing officer to make sure their contract is renewed, for example. Okay, another example, a firm pays an agent who secretly passes money to a government employee to help win a tender. Okay, maybe we are using intermediate just to make bribe. Okay, another example, for example, a multinational company hires a politician's relative, like we are hiring some politicians or relative to improve its chances of winning local government deals, for example. So all these are bribe. Now guys, please remember, these were just a couple of examples. We know bribery is illegal, right? Definitely when you are offering bribe, or when you are given bribe, right, this is obviously illegal and considered unethical as well. Okay, both for the business and for the government settings. Okay, now we have very important note. So these examples I have already quoted. Now important note is bribe don't to be a cash only. It's not necessary that just you are offering cash, that is the bribe. No. So it can include gifts. It can include even jobs. Maybe as I gave you example, you are offering a job to the relative of a specific politician. Okay, it could include services, travel, or entertainment. Maybe sometime you are giving the ticket or a free hotel stay for the other countries, just okay, go and explore the country like that. So this is also bribe. So here the main point is intent matters. Okay, intent matters. Intent means what? If the purpose is to influence or gain unfair advantage, definitely it is a bribe. Because if your intention is that okay, if I'll make this payment in cash, or if I'll gift this thing to this guy, definitely he will help me to get this unfair things. Okay, or I will get this advantage. Okay, so that is again a bribe, because it is your intention. You are making bribe with this intention. Then bribery is illegal in almost all countries, and it is a crime under international law as well. For example, as I told you, we are going to study two regulations today. The first regulation, which is about FCPA. FCPA stand for Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, and it is US based. Okay, and the second act which we are going to discuss, that is called UKBA. UKBA stand for United Kingdom Bribery Act. Now, I want to tell you here one key difference, because both acts are going to deal with the bribe. Okay, both acts says that bribe is illegal, it should not be done. But the point is the US Foreign Corrupt Practice Act. This is very key difference I'm going to tell you. The US Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, it is actually prohibiting the active bribe. Okay, active bribe. Active bribe means they are punishing the giver. the giver, the person who is giving the bribe. Okay, so their main focus is on those companies who are offering the bribe. Okay, not on those who are requesting the bribe or who are accepting the bribe. So US Foreign Corrupt Practice Act mainly, it primarily, it focuses on the giver, on offerer. Okay, but on the other hand, we got a United Kingdom Bribery Act. It actually, it is the more extended version, and I would say it focuses on both type of bribe. Active bribe means the person who is offering, that is also the target, and the person who is accepting, who is receiving, that is also the target. So it means under United Kingdom Bribery Act, so active bribery plus passive bribery both are dealt, right? But under the FCPA only the active bribery they are dealing, not the passive bribery. Okay, because in US, definitely in all other countries, there are other laws as well, not only FCPA, there could be other local laws and regulation which might include active and passive bribery. Okay, so but FCPA main primarily focuses on what? Active bribery. Now here we go. First of all, we are discussing a Foreign Corrupt Practice Act of 1977, which is American, which is FCPA. So here I want to explain first one word, because this is the word which they are frequently using in their writing. Okay, and the issuer. So like this FCPA is applicable on issuer, etc. So that I'm going to explain first of all the word issuer itself. So what is issuer, guys? So issuer, the word, okay. Then I'll explain the FCPA Act. Issuer mean to say a company. Issuer is a company, okay, that has securities. Securities means the company which are dealing in shares or in bonds and registered with the US Security and Exchange Commission. This is the first point. Like any company whose securities, whose shares or bonds are registered with the US Security and Exchange Commission. US Security and Exchange Commission means a US stock exchange. It means a company whose shares or bonds are traded on US, okay, stock exchange. So that's the first company, that is called issuer. Or issuer could be a company again that is required to file reports with SEC under the US Security Exchange Act of 1934. They are saying that it could be a company also, that company is required to submit their financial data with the Security Exchange Commission. Okay, so that companies are treated as issuer. Okay, treated as issuer. So issuer is what? Simple, in simple words, the companies which are registered with the US Security Exchange, or the companies over which US Security Exchange Commission's laws and regulations are applicable. So that company is called the issuer. Now here in simple terms, if you will summarize these 2 points, so what it means in simple terms, an issuer is a publicly traded company, like a publicly traded company. Public company means whose shares or bonds are in the hands of public as well, right? So issuer is a publicly traded company listed on a US stock exchange, or a company which is listed on the US stock exchange, or a foreign company with US listed securities. We have a concept of ADRs, right? ADRs, American Depository Receipts. Sometimes there are a couple of foreign companies, like it's not a US company, it's a foreign company. I'm quoting example here. It's a foreign company whose shares are traded on the US stock exchange, but through American Depository Receipts, through the ADRs. Okay. Now, in simple words, any company which is directly listed on the US stock exchange, or any company whose securities are listed. It could be a foreign company also, but their securities are listed on US stock exchange. So that is called an issuer. Okay. Now here, for more clarity, examples are quoted. Don't confuse yourself, because in your book they are not explaining what is issuer, etc. So I told you issuer means say any company which is whose securities are listed, or the company itself listed on the stock exchange, that is called issuer. So here examples of issuers, we got some example. For example, Apple Inc. Apple Inc. or incorporation. So we know the Apple company is US based company, so it is directly listed on the NASDAQ. Okay, so this is the first point actually. Okay, so Apple has securities like shares or bonds registered with the US Security Exchange Commission. Okay, another example. Now, Toyota Motor Corporation. We know Toyota is the Japanese company. This example is for the second point. So, a company which is required to file reports with the SEC under US Security Exchange Commission. It's actually the foreign company. So, Toyota Motor Corporation, which is a foreign company, which is Japanese company. So, with ADRs, ADR stand for American Depository Receipts, listed in the US. Okay, so actually ADR is a kind of concept in which American citizens they would be able to invest into the foreign companies through this American depository receipts. Okay, I'm not sure if you have idea about ADRs or not. I have explained in the corporate finance section. It's like that. For example, if it is a Toyota company, quickly I'm explaining. So Toyota company will sell a shares maybe to a specific bank in USA. Okay, it means that this US bank is investor, right? Now this US bank will make ADRs, and these ADRs are issued in the market, and people are investing into this ADRs. Okay, it means it's a kind of facility through which Americans citizens they can invest into the foreign companies. Okay, now here we got another thing here. Microsoft, Amazon, or Pfizer, they all file regular reports with the security exchange and are considered issuers. So this is also that point. Okay, now I hope that is clear. Now, guys, we are discussing here FCPA from where your book starts actually. So FCPA contains two set of provision. Okay, like Foreign Corrupt Practice Act actually deals with two types of provision. The first is about accounting, second is about anti-bribery. So you can make any sequence: anti-bribery and accounting, or accounting and anti-bribery. So first of all, FCPA, they have some requirements related to the accounting. So I'm going to explain first accounting here. So there are mainly four key points because we are not going to go through the whole FCPA, but the main idea we are discussing, okay, in concise way. So accounting. So the first thing, the first provision which is related to accounting. So what it means, they're saying that all companies are required to keep accurate record. First point, accurate record of what? Accurate record of all transaction and assets movement, right? Because as a company, for example, if I'm making payment to anyone, maybe even if it's a bribe, so I should not hide, oh, it's a consultancy charges. No. So FCPA, they are saying that the first provision, accounting provision, says that the company should maintain, or company should keep accurate record, okay, of all transaction and assets movement, okay, and record must show what really happened, no fake or hidden payments. For example, okay, like you should show the reality in your accounts. Okay, don't hide it or don't fake the data. So for example, it is, for example, a company pays a bribe. For example, let's say you are offering bribe, or you are making bribe, okay, but you are recording it as a consultancy fee. Okay, that's it means you are violating the law. So this is what it means, you are hiding, right? Or you are going to manipulate the data. You are offering bribe, but you are recording as a consultancy charges. Okay, so first provision is what? Company should maintain accurate record. Second provision is what? Second point, which is again about accounting. The first point under accounting is what? Maintain your accurate records of all transaction and asset movements. Okay, and second point for accounting is the role of external auditor. Definitely, we know the external auditors, what they do. External auditors, they must check and confirm that financial statements are accurate, or financial statements are not materially misstated, right? This is the role again which is highlighted by the FCPA under accounting provision. Third point of accounting, that is strong internal controls. Definitely FCPA says that it is not only the responsibility of a specific person. No, FCPA says that it is the responsibility of whole organization to devise or to design and maintain the internal controls. Okay, internal controls, it's a responsibility of everyone, right? So under the Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, all issuers, means a companies registered with the US Security and Exchange Commission, are legally required to establish and maintain a system of accounting controls. Okay, all issuers. Okay, you have to maintain, you have to design internal controls. Now the question is that maybe you're thinking, what's the internal controls? This thing we have already covered in part one. Actually, internal controls means, say, these are the actions taken by management to mitigate the risk, right? For example, sometimes we are segregating the duties, right? It's also kind of internal controls, right? So sometimes we give to someone authority. Okay, I'm just explaining segregation of duty is one type of control, right? Like in segregation of duty, we can segregate the duty. Okay, this person is having the authority to approve, this person is having the responsibility to record, or this person is having a responsibility to reconcile. So segregation of duty is also one type of control. And in your generally in your companies, you may see other controls also. For example, we have a camera surveillance system, we have a proper procedures, we are devising proper policies. All these are internal controls, right? So now the point is that FCPA highlights that all companies, all issuers, they are responsible, not a single person, or the whole company is responsible to devise and maintain the system of internal accounting controls. It means they are primarily more focusing on accounting related controls. Okay, regardless of whether they operate domestically or internationally. So you are responsible to devise and maintain the effective internal accounting controls. Okay, now here the simple few examples are given here. The key features of a strong internal controls. Okay, as I told you, it may include the segregation of duties. Okay, for example, no single person should control all aspects of the financial transactions, approving, processing, or recording. So these duties should be segregated between different peoples. For example, approval procedures, all payments, contracts, and expenditures must follow clear approval workflow. We are giving authority to some people. Okay, only those people can approve. So those should approve. Only those should approve. So monitoring and audits, again, it's a type of control. Internal or external reviews should be conducted regularly to detect and prevent fraud or misconduct. Then we got it here. Record keeping policies. All financial records must be complete, detailed, and accurate. Then training and awareness. Employees should be educated on ethical standards and compliance procedures. All these are a kind of features of sound internal controls. Okay, if you are doing all these things, it means we got a sound internal controls. Okay, coming back to the main point again, because don't lose your focus. So see, I said under FCPA, we are focusing on two provisions: accounting provisions and anti-bribery. Under accounting provisions, I said that FCPA requires that every company should maintain accurate record of all transaction and asset movements. Then I said FCPA also requires that external auditors must check and confirm the financial statements, financial statements are correct or not. The third, I said FCPA also requires that the company must have strong internal controls, especially related to accounting. Okay, then I now fourth thing I'm saying that this is third thing continues. Third thing, which is related to accounting controls. So internal accounting control system must be sufficient, that your controls must be sufficient to provide reasonable assurance. They don't ask for the guarantee. Definitely, controls cannot guarantee you. Controls can only provide reasonable assurance that transactions are properly authorized by management. Okay, these things will be ensured by controls. Okay, whatever transactions are happening, those transactions are properly authorized by management, and the company's assets are used only for legitimate business purpose. We are not using to take illegal or unfair advantage. So access to assets is permitted with only with management approvals. Only those who are authorized people, they have access to the assets. Transactions are recorded accurately and in accordance with the accounting standards. So these are the things which internal controls will ensure that transactions are authorized by management. Transaction assets are being used only for legitimate purpose. Only access to the asset. Only those people have access to the asset which is permitted by the management. Okay, transactions are being properly recorded. Okay, in accordance with the accounting standard. Financial statements are reliable, accurately reflect the actual events. Unauthorized, improper, or illegal payments are detected and prevented. So this all these points are relevant to the purpose of internal controls. Okay, like why we need a control. So this is the answer for that. Okay, the controls will ensure all these things. So 3 points are done. Now the fourth point under accounting. Again, accounting continues. Okay, accounting continues. The point number four is what? The point number four is, as I told you already, so FCPA does not blame just one person. FCPA doesn't say that only one person is responsible for internal controls like CEO or CFO. No, they're saying the whole company is responsible for having strong accounting controls. Okay. So these are 4 points under accounting. So this thing is done. Now, second thing, second provision of FCPA is about anti-bribery. Here we are again and anti-bribery. Okay, anti-bribery. Second provision of FCPA. FCPA has two set of provisions. First, related to accounting. FCPA requires that every company should maintain the proper accounting records. Okay, things like that. External auditors should verify those records. Company should have sound internal controls, and it is the responsibility of the whole company to have control, right? So this is accounting side of FCPA. Now I'm talking about anti-bribery side. Okay, the second provision or set of provision is the anti-bribery. Okay, now how anti-bribery things we can do or how FCPA is defining. So guys, please remember here, anti-bribery I am explaining in few simple steps. First, I will explain what is the corrupt payment as per FCPA. What is corrupt payments? Then I'll explain who should not make this corrupt payment. This is the anti-bribery side I'm explaining. Okay, anti-bribery. Who should not make these corrupt payment? Who should not make these corrupt payment? Okay. The third, to whom we should not make, to whom we should not make these corrupt payment. Okay, and then I will talk about some fines or penalties, okay, of the FCP Act. So this is the second side I'm going to talk about, anti-bribery. Okay, so first of all, we are explaining here what is the corrupt payment. Okay, what is the corrupt payment? Actually, this we are trying to learn here with which payments this FCPA is trying to guide us that these payments we should not make. So what's the corrupt payment? Simply, so corrupt payments are explained here, guys. So corrupt payment, how it is defined? They are saying that I have already told you in the bribe definition, but now this is the wording actually from FCP Act. So they are saying that corrupt payments are payments intended to improperly influence the recipient. They're saying like when we make a payment with the intention that we are trying to influence the receiver. Okay, how we are trying to influence the receiver to act or refrain from acting with the mere goal to obtain or retain business. Actually, in simple words, when we make payment and our intention is that this will affect the receiver, okay, he will provide us illegal or unfair advantage, and that advantage will help us to obtain the new business or to retain the existing business. So that is the corrupt payment. Okay, as I have given you example, for example, a student is making a bribe to a professor. Okay, and because then professor maybe due to this payment may manipulate the grade, it's a corrupt payment. Okay, maybe I'm making a bribe to a government official. Okay, because or maybe to the minister, because I know this minister can help me to win a new contract, or he maybe let me operate my existing business without any interference. So this is the corrupt payment actually. Okay, now FCPA, another point. FCPA prohibits a mere offer or promise of a bribe. They are saying that it's not like that. Even if it is not consummated, for example, even I'm just offering you bribe. Okay, I'll give you Lamborghini car if you will do this. So it's just an offer. Maybe I'll give you in future, but so this even a mere offer is also prohibited. Okay. Or a promise of bribe, it's also prohibited, even if it is not consummated. Okay, now the question, as I told you earlier at the start of lecture, that FCP Act deals with active bribery. Okay, active bribery means only from giver point of view. They are saying that that person is more guilty who is offering the bribe. Okay, their focus is on active bribery, not a passive bribery. So now definitely you may think what the hell is this, so why they are not dealing with the passive bribery, like the person who is requesting, who is accepting the bribe, why we don't punish them? Actually definitely there might be some other laws and regulations for that. Okay, so now here the act prohibits payments of anything of value. It could be a money, gift, etc. Okay, however, de minimis gifts, like gifts with a small amount, and tokens of hospitality are acceptable. For example, maybe you have very good connection with one foreign officials. He's coming to your country or maybe to other countries, and there you are just hosting them. So these things, the gifts with the small amount or tokens of hospitalities are acceptable. But if you are giving something in value and your intention is that, your intention, because intention matters, if your intention is that this will give you unfair advantage, so then it is a bribe. Okay, then they are saying passive bribery. As I told you, passive bribery is not dealt by this FCPA. Passive bribery example, receiving passive bribery means, say for example, I'm sitting and in a power of in a position of power. Okay, I'm sitting in a position of power and I am demanding, I did this. Okay, so this is what passive bribery. The receiver, okay, the acceptor. So the passive bribery, what? The receiving or accepting a bribe is not prohibited by the FCPA, because FCPA is not dealing with the passive bribery. They are dealing with the active bribery. Like here, again, as a note, it's written what I said earlier. Okay, I said it does not prohibit passive bribery, receiving or requesting a bribe, because why? What's the reason? Just it's this reason is just from my side only. So because the FCPA is not aimed at punishing the foreign officials who accept the bribe. I think our aim is not to punishing, but is not to punish the foreign officials who accept the bribe. It is aimed at the US companies or individuals who offers or pays it. So they are saying our target is those party who are offering the bribe. Okay, they are the main culprits, for example. Okay, now here another point, individuals found in violation. For example, if as an individual I am offering a bribe, okay, are subject to both fines and imprisonment. They can fine me, they can put me into a jail. Okay, if for example a company is caught as a corrupt payment, or if a company itself is offering a bribe, so then definitely there is a fine only. You cannot put a company, whole company, into a jail. So if individual is caught, so fine and imprisonment both could be there as a punishment. But if it is a company itself, so they may be impose some amount of fine, hefty amount of fine, I would say. So then we are there saying, if the fine is imposed upon individuals, may not be paid directly or indirectly by the employer. So even if individual is caught, okay, as a bribe offerer, and he is fined, so this fine should not be paid by the employer directly or indirectly. So this is what is the first thing we have covered under anti-bribery. That the first thing was what? So what is corrupt payment? So corrupt payment mean to say what? If you're making any payment with the intention to take or with intention to influence the receiver to take unfair advantage or to obtain the business or to retain the business, that is the corrupt payment. Okay, the corrupt payment, I have already explained these things. It might not include minimus amount of gifts or token of hospitality, but intention matters. Okay, again. So now, and the question is that definitely if you will be arrested, God forbid, so they will investigate, okay, what was your intention? It was accident or intentional act. So then, and the second question we are going to answer, who should not make this bribe? Okay, who should not? So here we go. This is what the answer of that question. Who must not make or authorize corrupt payment? Okay. Who should not make this payment? So here it's explained here. Please remember, so three words they have used. They are saying that number one, domestic concern. They should not make or authorize corrupt payments issuers, they should not make or authorize corrupt payments, or any person, individual or a company, they should not make or authorize corrupt payments. So let's understand now. So in these 3 points, like who should not make the corrupt payments? As I told you, 3 words: domestic concern, issuers, or any person, individuals, or a company. So let's go into more detail. So now they're saying FCPA prohibits, this is the answer of that, okay? Who should not make? So the FCPA prohibits the following parties from offering or authorizing corrupt payments. First party is domestic concern. What is domestic concern? Because in your books, mostly they just use the word domestic concern. So what is domestic concern? It includes US citizen. Domestic concern means say US citizen, nationals, residents, and companies, whether or not they operate overseas. Companies, even they are operating internationally, whether they operate internationally, answer is yes or no, doesn't matter. So this is applicable on US citizens, nationals, residents, and companies, whether or not they operate overseas. This is what does mean by domestic concern. For example, a US based engineering firm bribing and officials in Africa. So it's a US based engineering firms. It means it's under domestic concern. Second is what? Issuer. Issuer should not make corrupt payments. So issuer I have already explained. So it is a US company whose stock or bonds are listed on US stock exchange. It could be foreign companies whose securities are listed on US stock exchange. Okay, and they are required to file with the Security Exchange Commission. So those are issuers. So it means issuers should also not make corrupt payments. Domestic concerns should also not make corrupt payments. Now here we go. The third point: any person, individual or company, for example, even a foreign nationals or a foreign companies acting within US territory. For example, you are maybe from Ukraine, okay, but you are living in US, okay, or you are acting within US territory. So you are also, this act is applicable on you as well. So you are also not authorized to offer a bribe. For example, a German consultant flying to New York, it means now you are in the US territory, and agreeing to bribe for a contract in the Middle East. It means you are not allowed. So you are a person, if you are within the US territory, this act is applicable on you as well. Okay, so two things we are done. The first thing we said what is corrupt payment, then I explained who should not make these corrupt payments. Now the question third is to whom we should not make. Okay, it's very specific side again. To whom we should not make this corrupt payment? The answer for that is, so FCPA prohibits corrupt payments only to the following parties. It means they are more strictly dealing with these parties only, okay? Only to the following parties. Like you should not make payments to these parties. Which party? Any foreign officials. I'll explain this word. Or any foreign political party or officials thereof, or any candidate for political office in a foreign country. So you should not make bribe or corrupt payment to these three. Any foreign officials. Let's understand now first this one. And for any foreign officials, this includes any officer or employee of a foreign government or government owned entity. What I said, any foreign official means say any officer or employee of a foreign government or a government owned entity. For example, paying a custom officers to speed up the clearance of the goods. For example, you are living in USA, okay, maybe you are exporting goods, okay, to other countries. You are just making them bribe just to clear the goods more quickly. Maybe it may include some drugs, etc. But you are requesting them just avoid these things and clear the product, clear the goods. This is what is the corrupt payment. So any foreign officials, like it includes of foreign official means say officers or employees of a foreign government. Okay. Then Another example, the best examples to understand here, for example, if you are living in USA, so you have, so many foreign embassies in your countries, right? So the for example, Indian embassy, or for example, Russian embassy. So there is some staff. So for US people, these are the foreign officials, right? Okay. So because they are the employees of the foreign government, so you should not make any payment to them just to maybe just to get unfair advantage. Okay. Then here, second, they are telling you, so you should not make foreign any payment to the foreign official. Second, you should not make any payment to any foreign political party or official thereof. For example, you are donating money to a foreign political party in exchange for a government contract. Okay, maybe you are a big company, construction company, and now you are maybe giving some huge money in other country, okay, or to a specific political party in other country. You are just funding them because once they will be in power, so they will grant you so many contracts. Okay, so again, you are not required. It's also corrupt payment. You cannot make the corrupt payment to any foreign political party. Okay, then you cannot also make any corrupt payment to any candidate for political office in a foreign country. For example, offering campaign funds to a candidate who promised business favors if elected. Okay, so here understand this word, any candidate for political office in a foreign country. Like for example, USA, they also have embassies maybe in other countries, right? So their staff will sit in these embassies. So now the people who are sitting there in other countries, okay? So this is called any candidate for political office in a foreign country, okay? So you cannot make corrupt payments to them to obtain or to retain a business, okay? Or to get an unfair advantage. So three things are answered now. Okay. Three things we are done. So what is corrupt payment? To who should not make the corrupt payment? To whom we should not make the corrupt payment? Again, see, we are dealing here the foreign officials, the foreign political party, okay, or the foreign candidates, etc. So we are not required to make payments to them. Okay. Now here we got one important note here also. So along with this point, that note is explained here. Note. Okay, this please try to read this note. Only payments to foreign officials and politicians are prohibited. This is the main thing. Okay, you cannot make payment to the foreign officials or politicians. These are prohibited. But here, remember here, these things are not covered by FCPA. Okay, for example, FCPA does not address bribes paid to. These things are not covered by FCPA. Like if you are making bribes to whom? To foreign private individuals, not a foreign officials. Foreign private individuals. For example, you are making bribe to the CEO of the private company. It's not under FCPA now. See, then corporate officers in the non-government entities or domestic US officials, domestic officials. So if you are making payment to them, so these are not covered by FCPA, then maybe some other local laws are applicable on them. Okay. Now, guys, we are discussing here. This was done. FCPA is done. Now I'm going to go through here UK Bribery Act, which is called UKBA of 2010. Okay. So this is another act. Now it's the same story, but just it has a vast, you would say the context, I would say the context, vast context. So the UKBA recognizes four offenses here. Okay. As I told you earlier, FCPA was dealing or FCPA is dealing only with active bribery, the person who is offering the bribe from his point of view. But the UKBA, the United Kingdom Bribery Act, it deals from both sides, from offerer and from the offeree. Okay, from both sides. Now, so UKBA recognizing four of offenses. Okay, first, offering, promising, or giving bribe, okay, which is active bribery, like from the offered side. So what it means, we know it is a crime to offer, promise, or give a bribe to someone to influence their action. Okay, so this is also under UKBA. So example for this, for active bribery, example is what? Active bribery means from offerer point of view. So a company gives a gift, or money to a government inspectors to ignore safety violations at their factory. Okay, so you are making bribe just to the inspectors to ignore safety violations. Okay, so this is active bribery. This is also covered by UKBA. Then second, from this is actually passive bribery. Passive bribery is also covered. Passive bribery is what you are requesting. Oh, I need this much money, agreeing to receive or accepting a bribe. Passive bribery is also dealt by the UKBA. So what is passive bribery? It means it also a crime to ask for or agree to take or accept a bribe. This is also crime. Example, an employee at a government department asks a company for money in exchange for awarding a contract. So this is also a bribe. This is also covered by UKBA. Third, bribing a foreign public officials. So what it means, this is also covered by UKBA because it is more, vast or vast in context. Okay, so bribing a foreign public officials, what it means, it is illegal to influence a foreign public officials by offering them any advantage or to gain or to keep business. Example, a UK company, from UK point of view, it's explained, a UK company gives expensive gift to custom officer in another country to speed up the clearance of the job. So this is also bribing a foreign public officials. This is also covered under this act. The fourth, failure of a commercial organization to prevent bribery. Like if as a company you are failed to prevent the bribe, you are also held accountable for that. Okay, so what it means, let's understand what is commercial failure of commercial organizations to prevent bribery. So it means if some associated, for example, if someone associated with the company, like an employee or agent, for example, maybe the company is in the UK, I am in the Middle East, but I am their agent. Maybe I am representing that UK based company in the Middle East. Okay, so and now I am paying a bribe to win a business maybe in a UAE. So now even I was the agent, still the company can be held criminally responsible, okay, for this act because I'm representing them. If I'm committing crime, it means my company is committing crime in terms of bribe. Okay, unless it can be, unless it can show it had adequate procedures to prevent bribery. Okay, until unless company will prove that yes, it was not our mistake, this person has done this thing by himself. Okay, we got some procedures to prevent these kind of things. If company will prove, then maybe it's fine. Otherwise, if agent pays a bribe to win a business, for this company can be held responsible. Okay, unless it can show it had adequate procedures to prevent bribery. Okay, now example, an overseas sales agent pays a bribe to win a big contract. Overseas sales agent. For example, a UK-based company is having operations in the Middle East, let's assume, or maybe the agent is in the Middle East and he pays a bribe to win a big contract, okay, for UK-based company. If the company had no proper anti-bribery policy or training, it could be prosecuted, right? Okay, now here we got some important points as a summary. You should remember. Okay, so here why UK Bribery Act, UKBA, is stricter than US Foreign Corrupt Practice Act. Why? UKBA is more harder, I would say, are more stricter than FCPA. So here we got some points to remember. First point, who can be bribed? Okay, under FCPA, only foreign public officials or foreign politicians, right? So they're focusing on that. But under UKB, anyone, public or private, okay, who can be bribed? Their FCPA focus only on foreign officials. They said no, it could be anyone. Okay, then types of bribery covered, only active bribery from offer side only. But UKBA says no, both active and passive bribery, giving and receiving both are covered. Okay, and prohibited. Commercial bribery not covered. Commercial bribery, that if an agent is paying a bribe on behalf of a company, so that is not covered under FCPA, but it is covered and it is prohibited under UKBA. Then corporate responsibility, focus on individuals or corporate conduct. Okay, from corporate responsibility point of view, but Also, under UKBA, we also punishes failure to prevent bribery by employees or agent. Again, it's a commercial bribery, right? So commercial bribery is if you are failed to prevent, again, you are held responsible. Then jurisdiction, here jurisdiction, mostly US companies and citizen, but here global, this UKBA is, it has global reach. It applies to any company with some connection to UK. If you got little bit connections, it means UKB is applicable on you. Penalties then fines and imprisonment under FCPA, but under UKBA more heavier fines and jail time if possible, right? So both kind of fines and imprisonments are there under both act. Okay, this is the major difference, guys. So this was all about today lecture. I hope so it is clear. So first topic we have covered corporate ethical legislation, in which we discussed about FCPA and UKBA two legislations. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. If you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you.